Hey everyone, this is Julie from My Book Retreat, and tonight I am trying my very first vlog, so bear with me because I've never done this before. I thought it would be fun to try this out as an option for my reviews this year. I have had a very hard time keeping up with book reviews this year, or at least for 2016. So for 2017 I thought it might be easier for me to sit down and just talk to you about the books I read and see where we go with that. So, with no further ado, today I am reviewing this book right here. This is No Man's Land by Simon Tolkien. Simon is actually the grandson of the famous J R R Tolkien, and I have to admit that's one of the reasons that this book, when it was offered to me for review by the publisher, struck my attention. I have not actually read any of his grandfather's books, if you can imagine, and I have seen the Lord of the Rings movie, but I didn't really like it. So not really my thing, but I thought that this book sounded interesting. So No Man's Land was kind of marketed as a war story. But honestly, it turns out it's a long book, and the war doesn't really come into play until about halfway through. So you got about 200 or more pages before you actually get into the war story. So it's really more of an epic about the main character, Adam Rain's life, going from a young teenager in London, and the tragedies basically of his life that lead him into a mining town, and then eventually to the Battle of Somme. So it's a long, epic journey. Definitely not just a war story, but there is probably the second half of the book, almost the whole thing, is more based on the war. There's a lot of war scenes, a lot of time spent in the trenches. Some kind of gruesome things happen, of course, because it's war. But really, the story is more about his journey, his life, his change from being, a kind of a naive kid to basically a much more worldly and sophisticated guy. A lot of impact from the war. So it's really an interesting story. I loved it. I loved the writing style. It really engaged me. I loved the characters. There were little things that bothered me, but for the main character, Adam, I really got to know him and care about him. I found that some of his friends were really well developed, others not as much as I would have liked, but I really enjoyed the book, and I would definitely recommend it if you like those kind of epic, sweeping journey stories, kind of a coming-of-age story. It definitely has, like I said, the war part in it, so, if you have issues with that, you might want to avoid it. But otherwise, definitely recommend No Man's Land by Simon Tolkien. And let me know what you think of this whole video blog thing. This is kind of off the cuff. I didn't write anything down. I didn't prepare. So we'll see how it goes if I continue to do these or not. But that's the first one for now. So thank you for watching. And like I said, let me know what you think.